In my view, Premier Tim Houston was elected because of how good he is at communicating. Now, the irony is, this week he described minimum wage jobs as not being real jobs. Now, he later apologized, saying what he really meant was we should aspire to have better jobs. Now, he's not entirely wrong about that. If we roll back and think about when we're young kids and we are thinking about our future entering the workforce, we don't foresee ourselves taking on a job that is undesirable to us or not paying us a lot. We want good jobs, jobs that are things that we want to do, and enough money coming to us to afford our lifestyle, all of the needs that we have, and to live happily and comfortably. So this really ends up being a balancing between the political spectrums, the left, which naturally believes that we should invest and regulate up the minimum wage in order to cover cost of living and make things comfortable, and the right that believes that we really should invest in the economy, and that when we do that, organically more opportunities are provided, there's competition for people in the workforce that elevates wages. But the reality is neither of those systems works well entirely. We can actually create more jobs and increase wages by boosting the economy. We can actually avoid exploitation of workers by regulating an uplift in the minimum wage and trying to keep pace with inflation without causing inflation itself. But I don't think we should be half-assed about it. I think there's a more dynamic solution. And the dynamic solution recognizes that it doesn't really matter why it is that some people are stuck in jobs that are less desirable, meaning that if they themselves were asked, they would say, well, this is not the type of job I envision myself doing for the rest of my life or long term, and I don't make enough money. So in those situations, it doesn't really matter how they got there. What matters is that there's a spectrum in society of people that end up in those jobs. But if they put the time in, and if they put the hours in completing these jobs that are so vital to society and which helps build value for their employers, then what we should do is invest in them. And I don't mean half-assed, I mean full ride scholarship for trades training or educational training of post-secondary, and make sure we cover their healthcare costs, make sure that we cover their tuition, their materials required, and also their home expenses, including childcare. If they put in enough hours doing these jobs that the people like myself who aspire to having a better job don't believe they should remain in, or wouldn't want ourselves to remain in if we were in that position, then we should invest in bringing them out. We should spend the money. A program similar to the CERB would cover their living expenses and help them get by with a little extra cash to cover all of this tuition thing. And not based on having the highest grades, based on putting the effort in service jobs to do the work that we need to be done and doing this work for some of the lowest wages in the country. If they've done this for enough time over the course of several years, then they deserve to be lifted out of that, if they choose to be lifted out of that, if they choose to accept the opportunity and pursue a trade or pursue an educational opportunity that can put them into a career that they like better and which will pay them more. And I think if we don't half-ass it, we can actually come up with a dynamic solution that's in the middle of all this left-right, raise the wage or raise the economy bullshit.